the camera. Okay, so can't really see. There you go. That's a little bit better. Welcome back, guys. It has been a minute. A minute, as in like 2 months or something like that, since I've done my last video. So it's been a while. But listen, this video is going to be kind of different. It's not going to really be like a sermon like it usually is, or like a message. It's just kind of going to be like where I'm at in life. And yeah, so if you're interested in hearing about somebody's crap and what they're going through in life, then this is definitely the video for you. If not, then it's not. So without further ado, let's get started. So about 5 years ago, I think, I'm 17 now, so when I was 12, right before I was turning 13, I remember it was the end of 2016, I remember it pretty well, and I actually have a note that I wrote in December of 2016, and it was like a prayer that I written, and I was basically saying, I was like, Lord, please help deliver me from pornography. It's actually been proven by research and studies that pornography has more of a dopamine hit than cocaine or meth, which are some of the some of the strongest drugs that there are. Is and for me, it's like, and for like people who are a little bit older, if you are over the age of, I would say probably like 35, 40, if you're over that age mark, then chances are you probably don't understand the effects that porn has, that modern, like the internet stuff, not the Playboy magazines. That stuff is incomparable to what is going on now. And there's also a recent survey that I believe I can't remember who conducted the survey, but it was 8 out of 10 men between the ages of 18 and 30 view pornography of some sort at least once a month. And this is very also high, even in the Christian community. The numbers are very similar. It's a very real thing. And I think that my downfall, or not my downfall, but the reason I fell into it so easily was because the church did not address. The church didn't. Other Christians I knew didn't. My parents didn't. I didn't necessarily know what, I didn't understand how severe the effects were by me doing and being a part of this. And it was a progressive thing. It wasn't, it's not like it was the super weird stuff to begin with. Honestly, it just started with, even if it was just a magazine picture of some chick in a bikini or something, that's all it takes, and you start slowly. It's the downward spiral. That's just how sin works. It's progressive. Absolutely. And it was the same for me. I was not an exception to the rule. It was a progressive thing. And then I got to the point where it got to the point where it was less about, wow, this is cool, or whatever I was thinking at the time. It was like, I want to stop, and I can't. And that was a really bad place to be. I remember that. It was, and I was actually, even though I was so young, I was kind of more or less in a relationship with a girl at the time. And I had told her, and she's a great Christian girl, and she actually told me at the time, she was like, you really need to talk about this with your family. and I was like, okay, I told her I would, and so I did. And I think bringing that to light really did do a lot for me. And but that's why I'm doing this again now. It started around that time when I was like 12 going on 13, and it happened pretty early. Obviously it happened pretty early on, but I even to this day, like even 5 years later, I still, over the years, over this span, even though I defeated it, I think by probably by, I think, June of that year, maybe I was pretty much done with it. Around that time, of course, there was times in between that where I just messed up over the years, and I've always done pretty well. But even in periods where I was really, I was on my A game, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna, resist the temptation. I still had imagery and thoughts come into my head. Even these days, I still do. If I said I didn't, I would be lying, and that'd be a double sin, I guess. Just lying about not having these like sexual thoughts and stuff like that. Pretty vivid, and I'm actually right now I'm in a relationship with the good Christian girl, and she's just so amazing. And just today, thinking about all the stuff that I was going to talk about now, I know I need to appreciate her more, because she's just been, I think God just got to put her in my life just as a lifesaver. I mean, she really is great. But over the last few years, that's been a struggle for me, and that's something I think at this point, that's something I think I'll always kind of have to face as a guy. It's just like, okay, I especially if I'm with somebody, I'm with this person, and then when I get married to them, it's like, she's it. So yeah, and then the other thing lately that's been going on is something I will admit is I've been having a lot of strife, I guess. Maybe not necessarily strife, but me and my brother have, my brother actually, he has what would probably be called pretty severe autism. He's nonverbal and stuff, but he a lot of times will have these outbursts of rage and stuff like that towards, he'll get pretty destructive and stuff like that. And we've always tried to do our best and tried to do what we thought was the right thing. But the last probably 6 months, my relationship with him has pretty much like spiraled down a lot. I mean, to the point where in the last month or so, I've said on more than one occasion, I've said verbally that I hate him, to my parents, actually. Like I said, more than once. And I've even, beyond that, I've even had thoughts of like, just, the next time he does something, I'm just gonna lose it, and I'm gonna snap, and I'm gonna start, beating the crap out of him, and teeth are out, and blood, all that stuff, like pretty brutal stuff, pretty Cain and Abel like imagery there, and this has kind of been happening to me more. This is more recent. There's something. Oh, that's there. Anyway, that's been happening more recent, but it's so, and and you guys probably will never have any idea, but I have tried so hard over the years to try to understand and try to have to reconcile, to just say, okay, he cannot speak. It must be hard. It must be. But lately I've just it's like all mercy and sympathy for him for that reason has just gone out the window, and toward him I've just become heartless. And so the thing is, the things that I've said about me hating him, and the thoughts I've had, about beating his head in, is like, I hate it. I hate it. I do. It's like, I don't want to be that way. I don't. I really don't. I don't want to hate somebody so much, and it's my own brother. And I've said stuff like, and I've said, he's not my brother. That's not my brother. I don't know who he is, but he's not my brother. And I've said this stuff, and it's like, and I'm just like, man, just God have mercy on me, is what I've been saying. And that's just one area I don't know what to do, but I'm saying that also because that's the thing with sin, is when you bring it to light, it's like sin is like a vampire, and it has its power in the darkness, but when you bring it to light, it burns. It burns, and it weakens. It's weak. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do now, is like, even if anybody's listening, this is just kind of what I'm saying here is just kind of like for the whole world. It's like whoever cares to sit down for a few minutes and hear some random guy in the woods talk about his problems, that is, if that's a worthwhile use of your time, then by all means. But this is just so I can heal. Because, this stuff has been, even though that's just a couple things, there's other things about me too. Like, sometimes when I get really frustrated or really angry about the situation that's going on, a lot of times these days it's been towards my brother. I'll start dropping F-bombs and stuff like that, and I'll just be like, man, I'm just, the crazy thing is too, if you guys have watched my channel or know me, probably that one thing I would like to be a pastor. As soon as I graduate high school, I want to go to seminary school and be a full-time minister. And here I am talking about, like, these are the things that somebody as an aspiring pastor does. This is just right now, at least the negative parts of me. This is just who I am. And I'm telling you these things not because I'm proud of it, but because I want to be on a path where I'm repairing, where I'm reconciling, where I'm learning, where I'm unlearning the things, and I'm learning how to behave in these situations the way Christ would. And but I feel like I cannot do that until I confess, till I admit, till I say it publicly, that I've done these things. And what inspired the whole thing is this Sunday, I'm actually, right now, even though I'm 17, I'm actually, I guess more or less kind of like an associate pastor at our community church. And our pastor is out right now. He won't be there this week, so he asked if I could do the message, and I said sure. And I'm doing a message on peace, and that you have to surrender, and if you want peace in your life, you have to surrender the things that are going on, and he will redeem you and give you peace. And so, as someone who has been really suffering from these types of ailments recently, this is part of the surrender. This is not only, I've surrendered to God, but I think it's kind of like faith, where you have to really mean it, and me explaining this to you on the other side, to basically the whole internet, whoever finds it, stumbles across this video, explaining and confessing the things that I've been a part of, the things that I've done, said, a lot of them very recently. This is how I surrender. This is how I find peace, in what I'm trying to do. And so sometimes it's funny, when growing up, I always kind of looked at pastors as kind of like this superhero kind of figure. And I gotta tell you, man, as someone who isn't necessarily one yet, but is doing a lot of the things that a pastor would, I'll tell you something. We are probably some of the more broken people in the Christian world. I mean, in every Bible character, they have done things like Moses. Before he was used by God, he murdered a dude, buried him in the sand, and obviously did a pretty poor job at it, because they found out. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy who killed the Egyptian over there. You're gonna kill us too," is what the Israelites asked him. But look at him. He parted an entire sea in the name of God. And other characters like Paul, the Apostle Paul. He murdered Christians too. And David, he was a servant of God, but he messed up royally. And he saw a woman, bathing on the roof of her house, and he was like, "Dang, she's looking pretty fine." But he messed up there. And it's like these great people did. The great people in the Bible oftentimes were the ones who made the great mistakes. And this is a realization I'm kind of now learning. And I'm not justifying my mistakes in any means, but I feel like the Holy Spirit is really trying to convey this message to me, because he wants me to know that no matter what things I do, I can still be used by God. I can still surrender and be redeemed and be reconciled with him, and I'll retain peace in my life. And that's what it's about. And those are the things, just when I messed up, whether it's the porn, whether it's the hatred that I've had lately towards my brother, whether it's the adjectives, the F-bombs, the language, the kind of all that stuff. And I think those are the main ones. But I confess and I tell you all these things because I'm seeking to surrender and to be healed. And I don't think it's not necessarily good enough for him to just say it to him. You got to say it to your friends, and that's scary to do that. And even this, and so, but if you're still listening at this point, if you get anything from this, just know that anything you're facing, anything that you have done, even if it's going on right now, sometimes the things that are going on in your life right now at this moment, in the present moment, are the things that needed to be confessed the most. And that's kind of how it is with me, I am someone who very much wants to be used by God, and I do believe that he has a gift and a calling for my life. But I will be 100% honest with when I say that I'm pretty messed up in the ways that I've mentioned. It can get it's a little severe, but that won't stop me from that. And I don't think God wants that to stop me. And what I'm saying here is me just surrendering those things. is acknowledging and confessing it to the world, to you. Um, and if I just heard something. If I just encourage you, I don't need a like, I don't need a subscribe, I don't need a comment, I don't need anything. Um, the only thing I do ask, if you're watching this, is just be encouraged to take when if you got things in your life that you need to confess to somebody else, find somebody you really trust, and just open up. It'll change your life in more ways than you know. And I can't say they won't judge you, just as much as I can't say that no one will judge me for this stuff. But that's kind of how it works. You know, you just have to. Other people are imperfect as well, and they might judge you. But just know, when God sees you confessing this to your brothers and sisters, that He knows that He recognizes that, and He will honor you and redeem you for it. So I think that's pretty much it for today. Just be encouraged. Um, Even for myself, beyond the things that are going on, it's also been really hard for my future, because I'm 17 and I'm trying to figure it all out, and it's hard. And sometimes I've kind of had verbal arguments with God, and I'm just like sitting here, I'm like, but He cares about me, and He cares about you.